Thanks for everybody showing up today and giving us this opportunity to be here. I see a lot of friendly faces out here since I worked for 53 cities around the state. But I wanted to start off and do something a little different, because some people in this room will remember Mayor Richard Craig. He was the mayor of McDonald for about 8 years, and he passed away last week. As a matter of fact, they're laying him to rest as we speak. He was great for Henry County when Henry County was growing from a county of 20,000 people to a county that's got 240,000 people now. He was on the school board. He served 16 years on the city council. If y'all don't mind, I'd like to take just a few seconds for a moment of silence. Amen. Thank you. All right, a little bit about myself. Born and raised in Henry County. We had a cotton farm up until about 1980, and we sold that, and Henry County started to grow. And for those of y'all who don't know where Henry County is, it used to be on I-75 where the traffic stopped when you was heading to Atlanta, but now we got those reversible lanes. But we stopped farming cotton, and everybody started building houses. I got in the water and wastewater business in 1982, and I worked for Henry County, and I've been a water and sewer director ever since. I started my own business in 1999, and like I mentioned, we work for 53 cities, and I see several of them out there. But y'all, as I'm running around the state, and I'm asking everybody these questions, what do y'all think the number one problem is in this state? And nobody's mentioned it yet. It's workforce. Every industry, every city, y'all out there know, how hard is it to find a water and sewer operator that's certified? It's hard, it's big. But what the problem is, my son-in-law works for a big contractor, and he said the number one place they find jobs is to go to another job site and pay them more money. And I've raised 4 daughters, and this much I know. When they was in the 9th grade, I knew whether they were going to college or not. My oldest daughter, I knew she was going to college. Second daughter, I knew she wasn't. Third daughter's going to college. What we've got to do is the career academies that we've started, we've got to get those in every community. And we've got to go back to our high schools and teach these people trades. We're missing the boat here. Half the kids aren't going to college. So we got to get them trained. We've got to get them ready to go to work. And that is the number one problem I've heard. I got elected to the Senate 7 years ago. And one thing I should have mentioned I was a city manager in Locust Grove for 7 years, so I'm one of y'all. And I did go to the dark side and was a county commissioner for a little while, but I came back. But in the Senate, one thing I noticed was rules and regulations. I mean, how many laws we have to pass? Every year there's 400 or 500 new bills dropped. And y'all remember, some of y'all that were city managers, y'all probably remember the solid waste bill we had, plan you had to fill out every year? I was the one that got rid of that. We had to do that special audit for the 911, got rid of that. Too many rules and regulations. But on the workforce, that is the number one problem, and we have got to do something to get these high school kids ready to go to work. Being in the water and sewer business, I'm an infrastructure guy. I know we need rural broadband. Once you go past I-20 and get, even Henry County, even though we're part of Metro Atlanta now, we got broadband problems. So we got to work on that. And going back to college, the kids that do go to college, and remember, all of them don't get hope. Does anybody want to guess what the cost of tuition has done in the last 6 years? How much y'all think it's gone up in 6 years? 31%. Families can't afford that. So one of the things I want to do as Lieutenant Governor is I want to sit down with the Board of Regents. When your kid goes to college as a freshman, we need to lock in the cost of tuition. That way you can budget for it. You know what it's going to be for the next 4 years. And that's got to happen. Families can't afford this. And then, and I'm sorry y'all for being like this, but I've met some of y'all earlier. I've been a little sick under the weather, but with that, I'm just going to go ahead and close and let y'all ask some questions.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Nolan, you have the first question. Let's give a minute for the time to reset. Okay, go ahead.
Speaking of workforce development, an idea that's been put forward would offer tax breaks to people who relocate to rural communities that have declining or stagnant populations. The perk would be increased if local governments join in. Do you think incentivizing rural living in this way is a good strategy to help these struggling communities?
Absolutely. We've got to do something. It was mentioned earlier about the hospitals and rural hospital and the broadband. We need to do something. I'm going to give you an example. I was the one that passed the legislation last year that let these brew pubs and these craft beer people be able to sell on site. In Richland, Georgia, little town down below Columbus, they got Richland rum, if you've ever heard of it. Once that bill was passed, this man went in and started buying other buildings. He bought the old motel. He's fixing it up. It's that one little thing that can help y'all as a community thrive and change, but I do believe we need to do something to help.
Thank you. Ms. Probu, you have the next question.
Georgia's Constitution has a chapter on home rule for municipalities, yet legislation is regularly introduced to keep cities from acting locally, whether that's regulating plastic bags or the placement of Confederate monuments. What is your view on this type of legislation?
I'm torn on several things. Not me being a city guy, I like local control. But, you know, when we have state laws and people try to do something locally that's against the law, you know, like the Confederate monuments, you know, there's state law in place. And it's just, you know, so that should provide over, you know, like the sanctuary cities. So they're just against the law because you had state and federal laws. So I'm not for local control when it comes to that. But as far as passing stuff down that should be there, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You now have 2 minutes to give us your
Okay.
closing statement.
Again, thanks for having us here today. And you can go to my website. It's www.rickjeffares.com. And we're averaging about 1,200 miles a week. And so if I haven't been to your city yet, I will be coming. And I'll have my cards and some brochures over there. Feel free to call me anytime. Being in the water and sewer business like I am, I'm on call 24/7, 7 days a week. So feel free to give me a call. Thank y'all.
Thank you.